In this video, we're going to go outside and get a little tour of what's happening in the garden area and in the greenhouse. And then after that, we'll come in and do a little update on the pepper plants, on how they're going so far, and then what my plan is for my early tomato plants. All right, let's go outside. Not much going on out in the beds yet on February 25th, but the first thing that will get worked on, now that it is the time to start getting some stuff done outside, is cleaning up the strawberries, removing all the dead leaves that were the leaves from last year. And I have 2 beds of those. They'll get cleaned up soon. And then, as you can see, the garlic is doing pretty well. And that far bed is where most of the tomato plants will be for this year. Right now they're covered with leaves, but soon those leaves will get moved to allow the soil to start warming up, and also to put a little more amendments into the soil, like compost. And in the greenhouse, still a few carrots left. We've been harvesting from them as needed. The lettuce plants are looking pretty good still. Some younger ones that have been uppotted recently are starting to put on some size also. Onions are coming along. They'll be moving out into the main garden beds here soon. All of these things will come together as weather permits. We can avoid the raindrops. There are beet plants that I've been harvesting leaves from, adding it to salad. And some more young lettuce plants. And that is spring onions. They're about ready to be harvested as well, as they are needed, but they can stay there. And then I also have this one pepper plant that I've brought outside just yesterday. I want to see how it does in the temperatures of the greenhouse. I mean, outside temperatures are getting down to 40 or even into the upper 30s. The greenhouse only holds that a couple of degrees higher at its low overnight. Greenhouse, of course, warms up faster, but I just want to see if this plant will survive these temperatures. Kind of think of that as the canary in the coal mine. So I've taken some wool pellets and put them in this plastic cup and soaked them in some water overnight, and they expanded. It doesn't take much more than what's in my hand to make that much once you get it wet. And I'm going to stick them in my little blender here, a little at a time. Scoop like that. And then some of the Coco Loco potting mix. Add that to the blender and give it a spin. dump that into my container of potting mix and repeat. And so just 3 or 4 times like that, and I'll have nicely mixed wool and Coco Loco. I'm keeping track of how many cups of Coco Loco I mix. In the end, I want to have 6 or 7 cups mixed to that amount of wool pellets. I didn't sift the potting mix beforehand, and there can be some bigger chunks in it from time to time. But if I'm planting a seed that I think is small enough that I'm concerned about it being able to push through, if there's some chunks in the way, then I'll just put the potting soil in the bottom of the pot, lay in the seeds, and then cover it with some vermiculite, which the seeds can push through much easier. Then if I feel like the soil is not moist enough, I'll take some water and add it right into the tote, and then mix it in. And just keep doing that until I get to the moisture level I'm looking for. This is getting pretty good. I will always add a little bit more water when I actually put the seeds in the dirt to help the potting mix settle in around the seeds, so you know you have good contact with the seeds. And then if I'm not ready to use it right away, I'll just put the cover on, and it'll retain that moisture for quite a while. So what I've been doing for the last 3-4 days is up-potting my pepper plants. I've been taking plants that are in my root trainer like this and potting them up into cut-off half-gallon milk jugs. Still using the same potting mix that I used when I potted these plants into the root trainers, which is Coco Loco with some wool, and then in the up-potted version I added a little bit of green sand. These are still a little too small yet. I'm going to give them a little more time, but obviously the ones in the bigger containers are quite a bit larger. In another 2 weeks, these should probably catch up to that size and be ready to be potted up. I'm probably going to take about half of those pepper plants and stick them in the greenhouse in about a month, and the other half I will save, and they will go in the ground probably around the beginning of June. Here's a little bit of a close-up of the pepper plants that have been potted up. I have been already picking flower buds off them. I don't want to put any energy into flowering yet. Just want them to continue to put on good growth. And these two little propagators, I have parsley seeds planted on the left hand. So far, germination has not been very good, but I'm going to give them a little more time. And then on the one on the right, I just started some cabbage seeds and some Brussels sprouts. And those just went in today. And I've also started a little bit of a tomato experiment. I'm going to see what I can do to grow tomatoes earlier by growing some in the greenhouse. So back at the beginning of February, I planted some seeds, and they are coming along nice. And then 2 weeks after that, I started more, and there is one just coming up in there. And in the second week of March, I'm going to do 2 more of these pots, all with the same variety. And then gradually, I'm going to move them out to the greenhouse. So the first one is going to go out to the greenhouse at the beginning of March. And then this one that's just started here will go out second or third week in March. And then the ones that I haven't started yet will probably be around mid-April. I'm hoping that I will get tomatoes sometime in early June to mid-June. But we'll see how that works out. I've never tried it before. The rest of my tomatoes won't get started until late March. And then they'll be ready to go outside in mid to late May. Well, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. See you next time.